Good morning, students. This is session 1 of 8th Standard Social Science, History, 5th Unit, Educational Development in India. So, children, listen carefully to this session. In case of any doubts, you can make a note of it. We shall be clarified on the day of reopening. So, now let's enter into today's topic. So today in this lesson we are going to see how the educational system existed in India from ancient period to modern days. So we are going to see in three different time period, that is from ancient time, then medieval time and then modern time. So let's see the educational development in India. Education is a continuous process of acquiring and sharing of knowledge, skills and values. So, education is a process of gaining knowledge. So, not only gaining, we can also share our knowledge if we are educated. Education is recognized as the foundation of a progressive society. So, education is the foundation for a well-developed society. For a well-developed society, education is a compulsory element. It plays a vital role in shaping the responsible people. So, it plays a vital role in shaping the people. So, the world which we live is constantly changing and developing. So, because of the advancement in science and technology, the world which we live is constantly developing and changing. It is moving forward. So, to meet the changes and overcome the obstacles, we need to be well educated and to know the role of education in the human development process. So, to meet the changes in the world, everyone should be educated. In order to cope up with the developing world, everyone should be educated. So, now let's see about the education in ancient India. So, how the education was carried out in the ancient period. The historical sources provide the information that from very early times, the tradition of teaching and learning had been in vogue in India. So, the historical sources it provides. So, the source means the evidence, the historical evidence. It provides information that in the early times, the tradition of teaching and learning is most prominent in India. The concept of education might have originated from the Vedas. So, the sources, the historical sources, they reveal that this concept of education in the ancient days, it might be originated from the Vedas like Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda. So, the concept of education might have been originated from the Vedas. And the literal meaning, the Sanskrit word Veda is knowledge. So, the meaning of the word Veda is knowledge and it is a Sanskrit word. And the word is derived from the Sanskrit word Vid. So, Vid means to know. So, Vid means to know and the meaning of Veda is knowledge. And it is a Sanskrit word. Our ancient education system evolved over many centuries and focused on the holistic development of the individual by taking care of both the innate and latent capacity. So, the ancient education system, which was started over many years ago, many centuries ago, it focused on the holistic development. Holistic means physical, mental and spiritual development and also taking care of innate. Innate means by birth behaviors and latent. Latent means the hidden talents. So, the ancient education system, it focused on disciplinary values. So, to bring out their birth behaviors and also their inner talents. It emphasized on values such as humility, truthfulness, discipline, self-reliance and respect for all creations. So, these are all the major features of ancient education system. So, the subject focused on humility, humbleness, truthfulness, discipline, self-reliance to believe in oneself, and respect for all creations. So respect for all creations in the sense, even the animals, the plants. So respect for all creation. So the ancient education system focused on the basic disciplinary values. Now let's see about the sources of learning. So let's see about the sources or the evidence of ancient learning. So first is Aryabhata is the pride of India, Katyayana and Patanjali. So their writings and the medical surgeries of Charaka and Sushruta were also some of the sources of learning. So it provides the evidence of ancient learning, ancient education system. And also various disciplines such as history, logic, interpretation, architecture, polity, agriculture, trade, commerce, animal husbandry and archery were taught. So children, nowadays we are learning subjects like science, maths, history, geography. Similarly, in ancient period, these were the subject. History, logic, interpretation, architecture, polity, agriculture, trade and commerce, animal husbandry and archery were taught. So these were the subjects which was focused during the ancient education system. And also physical education too was an important curricular area and pupils participated in games and recreational activities. So even physical education, so even they gave importance to physical education and students participated in the games. The gurus and their students worked conscientiously together to become proficient in all aspects of learning. So the guru and the students, they work together in a responsible way to become proficient, means to become excellent in all the discipline which we seen earlier like logic, interpretation, archery. So the gurus and the student, they work together in an efficient and responsible way in the ancient system. In order to access student skills, literary debates were organized. So in order to evaluate the student skill, debates were organized. Debates means a group discussion were organized. Students at an advanced stage of learning guided younger students, and a system of peer learning was also practiced, like you have group or peer work. So the students at an advanced stage means the senior students, they guided the younger students, and there were also group learning. So group learning in the sense the senior and younger students or the students at the same age, that is peer group. Then the ancient education system in India and a way of life. So now let's see the way of life in the education system in the ancient period. In ancient India, both formal and informal education existed. So formal means the student will go to the guru's place. Informal means the guru will come to the student's house. So in the ancient India, both formal and informal education was practiced. Indigenous education was imparted at home, in temples, padasthalas and gurukulas. There were people in homes, villages and temples who guided young children in imbibing pure ways of life. So, the education was imparted at homes or in some temples or in padasthalas or gurukulas, and the people in the homes or villages or nearby temples, they guided their children. Temples played a vital role in imparting education and served the centers of learning. So temples is regarded as the center of learning in the ancient period. So in the ancient period, temples play a vital role where the students come to temple for learning purpose. Students went to viharas and universities for higher studies. So, once they completed their lower studies, they went to viharas and universities to take up their higher education. And also, the teaching was oral and students remembered and meditated upon what was taught in the Gurukulas. So, every teaching was oral. It was not a written type. So, all the teachings were oral and the students has to remember each and every points and they have to meditate upon it. Then, many of these Gurukulas were named after the sages. So, many of the Gurukulas, that means the school, is named after these sages. Sages means the saint. So, most of the Gurukulas is situated in forest or in serene and peaceful surroundings. Hundreds of students used to learn together in Gurukulas. So, mostly the Gurukulas is situated in forest or some peaceful surrounding or some nature beautiful surroundings. And hundreds of students, they used to join the Gurukulas and they will study in groups. During the early period, education was imparted by the teacher. So, teacher is also called Guru or Acharya to the pupils. So, pupils means students who gathered around him and came to live in his house as members of his family. This was known as Gurukula system of education. So, during the early period, that is during the ancient period, the teacher is referred as Guru or Acharya and the student is referred as pupils. So, the pupils will go to the Guru's house and they will stay along with him as a member of his family and they will do all the housework and they will learn about the disciplinary values, and this type of educational system is called Gurukula system of education. So, this is the oldest or ancient education system. During that period, the Gurus and their Shishyas is pupils or students, lived together helping each other in day-to-day life. So, the Gurus and students, that is the pupils, they live together as a family and they will help each other in their housework. The main objectives was to have a complete learning, leading a disciplined life and realizing one's inner potential. So, the main objective or the main motive of the Gurukula system is to have a disciplined life and you have to realize, so one has to realize his inner potential means inner talent. And also, the students lived away from their homes for years together till they achieved their goals. So, the students has to leave their family for many years till they achieve their goal. So, their goal is disciplined life and to realize the inner talent. And then, the Gurukula was also the place where the relationship between the Guru and students strengthened with time. So, there will be a strong bonding between the Guru and the student. Many monasteries and viharas were set up for monks and nuns to meditate, debate and discuss with the learned for their quest for knowledge during this period. So many monasteries and viharas were set up for the monks to meditate. Around these viharas, other educational centers of higher learning center was developed. So this attracted the students from China, Korea, Tibet, Burma, Ceylon, Nepal and other distant countries. So these type of Buddhist viharas, it attracted the students from many countries like China, Korea, Tibet, Burma, Ceylon, Nepal and other countries. So now let's see about the viharas and universities during the Buddhist period. The viharas and universities in the Buddhist period. So Taxila Taxila was an ancient Indian city which is now in the northwestern Pakistan. So Taxila was an Indian city, ancient Indian city. It is now in northwest Pakistan. It is an important archaeological site and the UNESCO declared it as World Heritage Site in 1980. So it is the archaeological site and the World Heritage Site. So the UNESCO declared Taxila as the World Heritage Site in the year 1980. Its fame rested on the university where Chanakya is said to have composed his Arthashastra. So another fame or another important feature of Taxila city is Chanakya, he composed his Arthashastra. So how this place was discovered by the archaeologist means, the archaeologist named Alexander Cunningham, he discovered its ruins in the mid-19th century. So the Taxila city was discovered by an archaeologist named Alexander Cunningham in the mid-19th century. So make a note of it, it may be asked in one word. So other important sources of education in the ancient period is the Buddhist Jataka tales. So in Jataka tales, the moral values is conveyed through the characters of animals, and also the accounts given by Hyun Sang and I Sing are the Chinese scholars, and other sources tells us that kings and society took an active interest in promoting education. So these sources like Jataka tales and the foreign accounts given by Yun Sang and Hai Sing, the Chinese scholars, it tells that the king as well as the society, they took an active interest in promoting the education in the ancient period. So through monasteries and viharas, Buddhist scholars carried out the educational work. So the Buddhist scholars, they carried out the educational work through monasteries and viharas. So as a result, many famous educational centers came into existence. So one such is Taxila. So Taxila University. Next one is the Nalanda University, Nalanda Buddhist Vihara. Next is the Vallabhi. Next, Vikramshila. Next is Odandapuri and Jagatala. So, these are all the notable universities that emerged during the period of ancient time. And also in the south, those at Benares and Kanchi developed in relation with temples and became centers of community life in the places where they were situated. So the Kanchi and Benares were also a educational place or the center of education. These institutions catered to the needs of advanced level students. Such students joined the centers of higher learning and developed their knowledge by mutual discussions and debates with renowned scholars. So these institutions is served as a university for higher level students. And also the major way of learning is through mutual discussion and debates with renowned scholars, with most prominent scholars. There was also occasional summoning by a king to a gathering in which the scholars of the various viharas and universities would meet, debate and exchange their views. So in the ancient period, there were a meeting with the king where the scholars or the students from different viharas or universities, they will come and participate in the debate. So debate means one kind of group discussion. Teachers had complete autonomy in all aspects, from selection of students to designing their syllabi. So the teachers, they have the complete power in selection of students. So they have the power to select their students and also to design their own syllabus for education. When the teacher was satisfied with the performance of the students, the course is concluded. So when the teacher is satisfied with the student, the course is completed. He would admit as many students as he liked and thought what his students were keen to learn. So the teacher has the power to admit as many as students and to teach them what they like. Debate and discussions were the primary methods of teaching. So the group discussion was the primary method. Teachers were assisted by their advanced level students. So advanced level means the higher level students. So the teachers were assisted means they were supported by the higher level students. And then another important university. First we have seen about Taxila University. Another important university is the ancient Nalanda University was a center of learning from the 5th century AD, CE means Common Era, to 12th century AD CE. So the another university is Nalanda University. It was regarded as the center of learning from 5th century AD to 12th century AD. So this university, so the Nalanda University is located in present day Rajgir. So Rajgir is a district in Bihar. Nalanda was one of the oldest universities of the world and UNESCO declared the ruins of Nalanda Mahavira a World Heritage Site. So the new Nalanda University is envisaged as the center of inter-civilizational dialogue. So the Nalanda University is located in Rajgir in Bihar and it is declared as the oldest World Heritage Site by the UNESCO. So children, I hope you are clear with the ancient education system. So an ancient education system is also called Gurukula system, where the teachers are regarded as Guru and the students are regarded as Sishyas. So we have seen about the two major university, Taxila and Nalanda University. So now we have come to an end of today's session. So refer your textbook pages. Today's topic are covered from page number 47 to 49. So now it's time for questions. So let's see some evaluation questions. In case of any doubts, you can go through the whole session video once again or else you can refer your textbook. So let's see some questions. First one, the word Veda is derived from which language? Which is the important center for learning in the ancient period? Nalanda, the oldest university in India, was located in which state? When did the UNESCO declare Taxila as the World Heritage Site? And finally, the word Veda means. So write the meaning. So children, try to answer all these questions in the notebook which you are maintaining for social science. So we shall continue this lesson in our next video. So in next video, we can see about the educational development in medieval period and modern period. Thank you.